Joining us now, Senator John Thune, the Republican from South Dakota. Senator, good morning to you. You and other Republican senators actually spoke with Netanyahu recently. Is the Republican Party now the pro-Israel party in America, do you think?
Well, there's tremendous Republican support, always has been, for Israel, Ashley. What's really interesting and hard to understand is what's happened to Democrat support. Traditionally, support for Israel was a bipartisan issue. Regrettably, it's become almost a partisan issue. As you look at the Democrats now, leading Democrats in this country, including the majority leader in the Senate and the president, telling the Israelis who they should elect for leaders and how they ought to prosecute a war in which they were attacked by a terrorist organization and lost 1,200 Israeli citizens, the largest single-day loss since the Holocaust. These are the things that are really hard to explain. And if you're an American citizen out there, having the Prime Minister of Israel, one of our closest friends and allies in the world, come and speak to a joint session of Congress makes perfect sense. Telling them how to run their government and how to run their war is very hard to explain.
I mean, it seems from all intents and purposes, Senator, that Democrats are abandoning Israel. They're kind of, signaling to the progressive left that Israel is in the wrong.
Well, they are, and that's domestic politics here. Your reporter just perfectly pointed that out. I mean, what they're responding to is pressure they're feeling from their far left here in America, with an election looming in November of this year. And so they're responding to that rather than the relationship, the long-standing relationship with one of our closest friends and allies in the world, and I might add a sovereign nation, in which we have a great interest in their success in eradicating Hamas, which on their borders presents a threat literally every single day.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's change topics, Senator. You and other Senate Republicans signed a letter to Janet Yellen over the proposed $110 billion tax hike on domestic oil and gas production. I mean, would that tax hike just basically lead to higher energy prices for us all?
For sure, and energy prices have gone up 35% since President Biden took office, and of course they want to get everybody into an electric vehicle. Right now there are about 7.5% of Americans who drive EVs. In 8 years they want that to be 67%, or 2/3 of all Americans. It's totally unrealistic. And average cost of an electric vehicle is about $52,000 at a time when Americans' real income has gone down since Biden became president. So they're forcing people under this mandate into electric vehicles at a time when Americans' standard of living has decreased under his presidency. And so, this is all part of a Green New Deal fantasy, a scheme where they try to get everybody into electric vehicles and get rid of a lot of the energy production that we have in this country, which does nothing but drive up energy costs further for American citizens.
Yeah, exactly. Another one for you. Interesting. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen admitting that, Joe Biden does not have a plan to save Social Security. Listen to this. I'll get your comment.
Okay.
Has Treasury really not looked at, okay, we're already charging $4.9 trillion for the deficit, for Medicare, for a lot of other things, and now we got to add social, but we haven't done the math to figure out how much that tax rate would have to be?
The president doesn't have a plan. He has principles. He wants to work with Congress to find a way to protect Social Security and extend its solvency beyond 2034.
Now, if the president wishes and he doesn't have a plan, Madam Secretary, how could he justify not having a plan when he's been in office for 3 years already?
He believes it's important to work with Congress and not.
Madam Secretary, he has not worked with us at all. On this Senate Finance Committee, we've not heard from the president.
All right, Senator, Social Security is 9 years from insolvency. What's going to be done?
Well, that's the question, and she had no answer for that because he doesn't have a plan. And in fact, what they propose doing is increasing the cost of entitlement programs dramatically higher. And in his budget, they take the debt up about $17 trillion, I should say, from where it is today to over $50 trillion. And lots of tax increases, $5.2 trillion in new taxes. and new spending, but no plan for how to rein in the cost of entitlement programs, which are unsustainable, and by the way lead to, as was pointed out by Senator Cassidy at that hearing yesterday, eventually about a 25% cut in benefits for people who are receiving Social Security. They have no plan. They don't want to talk about that issue. And all they want to do is pile on more debt on the backs of the American people and put our country at greater risk fiscally.
Spend, spend, spend. Senator Thune, thank you, sir, for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Ashley.